You hear me talk a lot in my videos using words like AO, NC, MPI, RevRec, CAS, NPO, and so on. If you're new to the CPA program, you may be wondering, what on earth am I talking about? In this video, I'll explain the terms and abbreviations used in the Canadian CPA program. I'll organize this list in alphabetical order as much as I can, but I will group some words that are related. Let's start with the first one, and that is AO. I use the word AO a lot in my videos. You'll hear me say AO, AO, and you'll hear others say AO, AO. AO stands for Assessment Opportunity. Within CPA cases, there are little problems that you're expected to solve, and these problems are called AOs. The name AO comes from the feedback guide used in CPA Canada cases, which is used to grade us. Each section there is called Assessment Opportunity. So if you hear someone say AO, for example, my Core 1 case had 5 AOs, they're saying that their case had 5 problems that need to be solved. If someone says, I didn't score well in the assurance AOs, it means they didn't do well in the problems or requirements in a case that had to do with the assurance competency. Next is AS. AS simply means assurance. It is one of the 6 technical competencies. It's also called AA, which stands for Assurance and Audit. Now, we don't say out loud AA or AS, but when we write it down, we abbreviate it as either AS or AA. So when you're taking notes, I suggest that you abbreviate it as AS or AA instead of writing the full word because it's much faster and shorter. As I mentioned, there are 6 technical competencies. Here are the other 5. FR, MA, FN, TX, and Strategy and Governance, or SG. This stands for Financial Reporting, Management Accounting, Finance, Taxation, and Strategy and Governance. Out of this, we say FR and MA out loud as abbreviated terms, but the others like TX for tax, we don't really say TX, we just say tax because it's short enough as it is. Next one is ASPE. ASPE stands for Accounting Standards for Private Enterprises. The Canadian GAAP has 2 major parts. It's ASPE and IFRS. ASPE is for smaller companies or those who have no intention of going public. The other one is IFRS. IFRS stands for International Financial Reporting Standards. These are the standards used around the world. In Canada, companies have a choice of using it, and if you're a publicly traded company, you must use it. You don't have a choice. There's another standard, it's called ASNPO. ASNPO stands for Accounting Standards for Non-for-Profit Organizations. Non-for-profit organizations are also abbreviated as NPO. These standards, the ASPE, IFRS, ASNPO or NPO, are all part of the CPA Canada's handbook, which we abbreviate as HB. Next is CAS. So CAS stands for Canadian Auditing Standards. So similar to ASPE, IFRS, and ASNPO, CAS are the rules for completing audits in Canada. Similar to CAS, we have ITA, and ITA stands for Income Tax Act. This one has all the tax rules. Next is FG. So FG stands for Feedback Guide. I mentioned Feedback Guide a little bit earlier. It is the marking rubric used to grade your cases. It contains breakdown of AOs with specific line items where you can score points. The individual lines in a feedback guide are called MPIs. Now, MPI stands for Minimum Proficiency Indicator. Think of this as the smallest level where you can earn points in CPA Canada exam cases. For example, if you're asked to perform a break-even analysis, each individual line item that you put in your Excel, for example, fixed costs, variable costs, conclusion, those are MPIs because each of them can give you points. By the way, we also have SP, FC, VC, CM, DL, VOH, MOH, which stand for selling price, fixed cost, variable cost, contribution margin, direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, and machine overhead. These are just common MA abbreviations that we use. And you can also use those when you're answering CPA exam cases, specifically for Core 2, in your Excel file. The next 3 terms are PERT, PREP, and PEP. So PERT stands for Practical Experience Reporting Tool. In addition to completing all the CPA exams, you have to report work experience to graduate. This is reported in this PERT tool. Next are PREP and PEP. So PREP are the courses before you begin the main CPA program. This is usually for students who don't have an accounting degree. You're required to take some of these PREP courses before the main program called PEP. PEP stands for Professional Education Program. It consists of 6 modules which end with CFE. The 6 modules are abbreviated as you can see on your screen. These mean Core 1, Core 2, Audit, Finance, Tax, Performance Management, Capstone 1 and Capstone 2. When speaking, we often say PM instead of Performance Management, but the others we say the full name, like Core 1. Nobody really says C1. We just say Core 1, but when we write it down, we say C1 in our notes. CFE, or Common Final Exam, is the other exam, and we also call it CFE. We don't say Common Final Exam very often. It is the very final exam in a CPA PEP program. It is 3 days long, extremely hard, and once you pass it, you are done with the CPA status and you can apply for membership, assuming you also completed your PERT. CFE has 3 days, and we abbreviate these 3 days as D1, D2, and D3. The next are NA, NC, RC, C, and CD. The grades that you receive in your CPA cases are not percentages or ABC type of grades. Your score falls in one of those competency areas, which is NA, NC, RCC, and CD. So NA means not addressed, NC means nominal competency, RC means reaching competent, NC means competent, and CD means competent with distinction. Every case that you write in the CPA program will get you these grades per AO. So you'll often hear your peers say, I got NC in this AO or I got C in the assurance AO. They're basically talking about the grade they received in the exam, and you will use it as well when you learn the marking system. Here are the next terms used in the CPA education program. SL stands for Session Leader, which is the person who runs your CPA workshop, and I used to work as a session leader with CPA Canada. The MWS, OWS, these stand for Module Workshop and Orientation Workshop. These are the 2-day workshops during the modules. NMC stands for National Marking Center. They grade your papers during the Capstone 2. D2L stands for Desire to Learn. It's the learning platform where you can download your CPA Canada materials and submit assignments. NOSHA is just a platform where you can find the handbook, CAS, and ITA standards. Ebook, those are the lengthy books given to students that teach different topics of the CPA program. PC, IP, and MCQ, these mean practice case, integrated problem, and multiple choice question. These are the many different types of assignments that you have to complete when you're in a CPA program. BOE stands for Board of Examiners. They oversee the CPA exams and decide the passing percentage. Next terms are quant and qual. These mean quantitative and qualitative. They're the different types of analysis you do. Quantitative is about numbers, qualitative is about writing. Next, let's cover some technical abbreviations. So RevRec, it's short for revenue recognition. It is a very common financial reporting topic or FR topic tested in CPA exams. ARO, IGIA, and SBC, this mean asset retirement obligation, internally generated intangible asset, and share-based compensation. Next, we have a string of abbreviations. These stand for related party transaction, arm's length transaction, which is the opposite of related party transaction, non-monetary transaction, joint venture, joint arrangement, joint operation, financial instrument, and foreign exchange. Next is FS, which stands for financial statement, which is the one that you should be familiar with. And within financial statements, we have BNS, which stands for balance sheet. Don't say BS out loud, it just sounds rude. And we also have PNL, which stands for profit and loss statement. We also have IS, which stands for income statement, and CFS, which stands for cash flow statement. So next is PP&E, which is product, plant, and equipment, a very common abbreviation I'm sure you heard about. Next set are shown on your screen. These terms are not said out loud as abbreviations, but we write them like this when we're taking notes. This means held for sale, like discontinued operations, held in use, which are continued operations, held for use, which are PP&E, available for sale, which are inventory, held for maturity, which are for investments, and held to collect, which are measurements for different types of financial instruments. The next batch are the different ways we measure things, which you can see on your screen. This stands for fair value, fair market value, carrying value, net book value, exchange value, which is the same as exchange amount, present value, net realizable value, and recoverable amount. Next, let's look at some strategy terms. MVV stands for mission, vision, and values of a company. Obviously, the V's can be rotated and you can say mission, value, and vision if you want. KPI, KSF, SWOT, and PESTEL, these are all strategy terms. They stand for key performance indicator. These are used to measure the performance of an individual, team, or department. KSF means key success factor. This is used to gauge what one company needs to do to be successful. SWOT means strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats. It's a way to map out the internal and external environment of a company. And same for PESTIL. It's used to map out the company's environment. Now let's review some auditing terms. These are all the different types of risk you should know. Audit risk, control risk, inherent risk, detection risk, sampler risk, non-sampler risk, fraud risk, risk of material misstatements, assertion level risk, and OFSL risk. We also use a lot of formats and templates for audit. We have the WIR, RAP, RAMP, and WOOP. This stands for Weakness Implication Recommendation, which is used when solving the control weakness type of AO. RAP stands for Risks, Assertion, and Procedure, which is used when creating audit procedures for financial reporting issues. And next is Risk, Approach, Materiality, and Procedure, which is used to format the audit planning memo. And lastly, we have Verb, Object, Object, Purpose, which is a sample way to write audit procedures. All right, shall we say that was a mouthful? How many of these terms did you know and how many were new to you? You can comment below and let me know. I've covered about 110 to 120 terms just in this video, but if you want a more comprehensive list of even more terms, you can check out my study notes. They contain hundreds of more abbreviations, as well as summaries and simplified explanations that help you understand these concepts better and pass the CPA exams. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.